Hello everyone, so I'm finally talking about why I left Bath & Body Works. So let's begin going down the list. I got hired as an associate, as a seasonal associate in November of 2014. It was really October of 2014, but I didn't really start working and like being trained in November because that's when they need their seasonal associates for, you know, Black Friday and the holiday season and all that jazz. And I ended up working for the company for 2 years, and in those 2 years there was like the first year and the second year were like completely different because that's when Bath & Body Works went from focusing on like making sales as a whole to making sales individually. Let's start off from the very beginning. So I've always been like an outgoing person because I've been in dance and I've been a performer, but when it came to Bath & Body Works, I was definitely not the most confident person. I just, like, you've gone into Bath & Body Works, I'm sure, and you've probably felt badgered at least once by the associates of them trying to shove products down your throat. And I feel like it's always been like that, but definitely within the last couple of years, it's gotten worse, and that's because of this new system. So I was definitely inside my little shell when I worked there. I would hide in the corner. I would only talk to the Spanish-speaking customers, but then they ended up latching onto me because they're like, oh, I need you to help me like every step of the way. And my managers did not like that because then you're not focused on selling products to other customers that are coming in because you're stuck with this little group of people instead of like the rest of the people that are coming in. So a little more about my experience when I first started is I was scared of 2 out of my 3 managers because the environment there is you have to sell an expensive product to somebody who has worked hard for their money when they can get the same, well, not the same product, but like the same item, like a candle, they can buy like a cheaper one at Walmart or TJ Maxx. So why do they want to buy your candle? So that's why they're very big on selling, because it's harder to get somebody to buy, you know, a bottle of soap that's labeled for $6.50. Of course they always have their deals, but sometimes there's not deals and they want you to like sell like to one person like every day. That was like their biggest thing, like getting a home fragrance, a soap or a sanitizer, and like the body care into like a person's like little tote bag that they have and like into their purchase bag. So I was scared of 2 out of my 3 managers because I was not comfortable selling, and they kind of scolded you or like forced you to sell because that's what they're all about. It's retail. Everything's always about selling, 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 which can be really intimidating as your first retail job. But I do have to say the whole Bath & Body Works experience has made me a really good seller, actually, because they yanked me out of my little eggshell. There was only one manager that I was confident with because she always encouraged me to sell. Like, if I miss someone, which they really don't like if like you haven't helped like every person. Another reason why like you get badgered is because you get in trouble if you don't help every person that has come into that store. So if I were to miss someone because I was too nervous to go up to them, she would always say or like recommend like things I should say, or if they look like this, then maybe you should try this, or like why don't you just squirt some soap in their hands so they have to go to the sink and they have to try it, or just don't let them say no, just be like, here, let me like put this on you so you can try this, and you know, all of those selling tactics. So with her I was really comfortable, and that's kind of how I started developing my selling skills. So when seasonal season ended and they had to decide out of like the 50 seasonal associates that they hired, because I worked at a very high volume store, they had to pick about like 3 to 5 people they wanted to keep as part of the permanent team. So she ended up vouching for me, they went with her word, and I ended up becoming a permanent associate, and they worked on me as in like getting me out of my shell and like selling in front of them, and I got really comfortable, and I actually became one of like the top sellers like while I was there, because they do keep track of that. So before, the way they would kind of keep track of that is they used to focus as a team as going green. Segments were cut up into 2 hours, and they all had like different like money amounts. So like if it was right when we opened, like it'd be a smaller amount because there's not that many people shopping, and in the middle of the day had like the biggest amount. And the goal was to go green, because like it would literally go from gray to green if you had reached the goal for that hour. And if you went green, or like in all of the segments, essentially you'd make your daily monetary goal. And that's like what that determines how many hours the associates got. Like if you went green, then like everybody gets hours. If you didn't make green, hours would get cut. So everybody, like it was all like as a team to try to get hours. And if you worked like certain, ooh, I kind of spit when I just said that. So if you worked a certain amount of like green segments in a row, like they would acknowledge you, they would give you like prizes or stuff like that, and there would be like incentives on top of like the monthly free stuff that you would get. Which was great, by the way. Like when you got gratis, when it was like a day you got gratis, it was such a good day. Like I love that. So after about a year of working there, they ended up switching to a system called SPA, which stands for Sales Per Associate Hour. And this just meant that if you already felt like the associates were pushy and annoying, like it just got 1,000 times worse. Now every sale that was made had to be assigned to associates. So then you had to be extra pushy because you wanted the customer to say your name at the register. Like, who helped you out? Renee helped you out. So then that sale would be assigned to you, and they would take all of your sales, and it would say like how much money in sales you would make per hour for the day. And so you had a goal that you had to meet. But then besides that, you were also like competing with all the other workers, managers, and associates to get that sale. That's when it went like from fun to not fun, because the managers were forced by their higher ups for the associates to perform, but then they also had to get their spot up to their like goal. The managers were the only ones that were getting like the highest goals, and then they would come at the end of the day and say like, why, like if it was a Tuesday like closing, it was just you and a manager, and that just meant you were on the register. And this is like the case for like the weekdays, like you were on the register for the most part, and basically the manager is the one that's selling, and then they're the ones getting the sales, and then they come in like, why didn't you make any sales, or why is like your spa so low? And then you'd be like, well, like I was stuck on the register and I'm not about to steal like your sales, because then that also happened, like people would steal sales, and it would become like an even bigger issue than not making any sales at all. Your sales meant how many hours you would get. And so obviously you want to have sales, but sometimes it's hard because you're competing against everyone else, and it's like you're stuck at the register. How are you gonna make like sales when everybody else is like on the floor selling? That's when things got really competitive, and that's when people really started leaving because it wasn't fun. Like you weren't working like as a team for everybody to get hours. It was your own hours. And the thing is, like only one person could get the sale. So it's like if two people like helped with the sale, then technically no one could be assigned that sale. So then both of you are at loss. And then there was a lot of issues where like the girls at the registers would not assign, like if they didn't like you, they wouldn't assign the sale to you. And that hurts in your favor. That quickly like drained people out. And I have a very happy personality for the most part, but I went to school full time and I was working like 27 hours a week at Bath & Body Works. So tell them like, oh, like, you know, like I have this much homework, or like I have a test and I didn't do well, or whatever. And then they try to be like, oh, well, this should be like your place to like be happy and like relax and like not think about that. And it's just like, what? Why would I like think work is like this place to de-stress when it's more stress because I have to like meet a certain goal of sales, and if it's a slow day and like we don't make it, then I still get scolded. Or if there's other people working and they stole all my sales, I get scolded. So it just got like really not fun, and that's like kind of why I ended up leaving. And for a while I was a floater, so I had like my main store, but I also like to work at other stores just because I didn't like the environment that it was turning into. I found that other stores, based on the management, other stores around like my area weren't as high volume, so they still had to abide by the same things, but they didn't precisely scold you because the higher ups didn't have as firm as a hand on them because they weren't high volume. It's just, it got very dishonest, and then, you know, it's not fun when it's like your hours get taken away and it's not precisely like your fault. Like, why do you want to work in that environment? And there was like snakes, like there was sneaky people, and like the managers knew they were sneaky and that they would do stuff, but like they didn't do anything about it. Instead of like the people who were actually trying and not stealing sales got like the bad hand. And that's kind of what I ended up leaving, because no job, like entry level, not really entry level, like minimum wage. I mean, Bath and Body Works pays good and there's like, you know, free stuff, which is great and stuff, but it's like, it's not precisely like a career per se. Like, as just like a side job that you're doing like while you're at school, you don't want it to feel like it's an extracurricular that like you signed up for. Like, you have to be on top, like you come to put like more than the energy that you have into it, which is what it ended up turning into. So it just wasn't healthy for me anymore, because I dreaded going, I dreaded having to be scolded. And then like if you told your manager, well, it's like, I'm not making any sales because you're like at the front and I'm at the register, then they'll be like, oh, okay, then like you can go to the front in like 30 minutes and make up like the amount of sales that you should have done in like 4 hours and 30 minutes when there's only like one person who comes in. So that's kind of why I ended up leaving. I don't know. I just miss the old Bath and Body Works where like individuality didn't count and you all worked together. All I really have to say, like, I don't know, like once I got to the spa part, like I basically like just let it all out, and then that's basically it. Like, and I talked to like the associates that are still there, and I'm like, they know that, some of them know that I used to work there and that I left because of certain managers that are there and because of the way that it is. And I've asked them how they felt about it, and they don't like it either, but you know, some people, like I looked for different jobs and I was successful in finding different jobs. I guess like the pay is good compared to other jobs at Bath and Body Works. Thankfully, I'm at a job that like, well, right after Bath and Body Works, I actually went to a job that paid less, but because the stress was like not like even comparable, I was much happier then. And then I ended up getting a better job that I believe has more benefits and pays a little bit better than Bath and Body Works now, and I'm happy. And that's because I searched, because ultimately if you're not happy at a job, like get out of there, like it's just gonna drain you. And that's how I felt that Bath and Body Works became. And I can see that happen because all of my friends and co-workers that work there, they're not there anymore. I get anxiety and I try to be perfect in everything that I do, so the new Bath and Body Works environment was just not for me. If you decide to like apply to Bath and Body Works, is nowhere like as pushy as the one that I was at. So that's all I have to say. But if you have any questions about anything, feel free to leave them. I'll answer them as fast as I can. But that's all I really have to say about my experience and why I left. I did last for 2 years, and then like I said, I just found a less stressful job and was happy there for a while, and then I found a better job and I'm there now. But yeah, that's all for now. I think I covered everything about my experience. So I'll see you guys all in my next video, and thanks for watching.